Welcome back to Nick Lenz, Comic Corner Classic, Last Known Classics. This is episode number 25, 26, episode number 24, 20. The two characters talking about for the trades are two people part of Midnight Suns from the 1980s. This first trade, released very recently, Yellow issues published in the 1990s. First one we have is Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, Blood of Vengeance. The second mini-series for him after the end of his ongoing series from the 1990s. And this book, unlike the previous book which set in present day, this book is not set in present. This book is set during the original run. Written by the guy who originally started that run, Howard Mankey. Not the same artist though. No, the artist book is Kemo Pachito. And by the way, this miniseries is 4, so compare to the first one, which is 5. Now, at what point do I think this is set? It's sometime during Howard Mankey's run, but no definitive answer when the heck this is. I mean, there's no book. You might be thinking, what about the most recent book featuring Dan Ketch? Well, he is not exactly the main character in that book. That's Johnny Blaze's book. So, by the way, I forgot to mention my review for Ghost Rider Dan Ketch, the Epic Collection, that one. Basically, a lot of the stuff associated with Ghost Rider nowadays, he took from him. Yeah, basically, a lot of popular stuff associated with Ghost Rider nowadays, the penance stare, the spiked shoulder pads, that's all from Dan Ketch. Yep. Yeah, and he still does penance stare, which Johnny Blaze does it now too for some reason. When the heck, I have no idea. So that's because it's a suit powered guy, and then of course, Stacy Dolan shows up, his old childhood friend who he's got a thing for, despite the fact he's actually married. And, well, then they go off and see this other guy here called the Broker. Then apparently ends up back in the very location where he first became a Ghost Rider, back in issue 1 of the ongoing series. And then he knows something interesting about the emblem. Yeah, that's the emblem. Which apparently is a symbol of the Kale family. That is what I've heard about it. And he just noticed basically there's a scratch on it. He has never actually looked at the thing before. Yeah, according to this, he never noticed before the fact it's got a scratch. So apparently the way the thing works, he touches this emblem and becomes the Ghost Rider. And this way he notices there's a scratch there. Now, how the heck a scratch got there? Don't know. And then he rides off and then runs into... And then we cut to, in Berkeley, we run into Jimmy Six. Another character Howard Mankey created, but here's the thing. He never appeared in Ghost Rider. Never did. He is actually from Howard Mankey's time on Amazing Spider-Man. That's where he's from. Actually, it was just before that. Basically, he showed up when Ben Reilly was in the book. And Jimmy Six at one point was living with, well... I thought it was quite interesting they included Jimmy Six in here. I didn't think they would include him in here, but yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. Because I heard the guy was dead. Mm-hmm. His first appearance actually was toward the end. Was actually, I believe, during the Clone Saga. Yeah, it was during the Clone Saga when he first showed up, and Ben Reilly first. He became a close friend of Ben Reilly. And mostly put, he was just there. And here's the strange thing, though. Jimmy Six is only in just his opening issue. Oddly enough, he's not here for the rest of the book. Do not know why he's not here. He just is simply just not here. Yeah, this is something in particular that is never explained why it's like, my guess is Howard Mankey threw this guy in here because he's one of his characters. He appeared in the 90s, even though he appeared in a completely different book, Spider-Man. He's just here, deal with a gang war, deal with a broker, and then of course we see Johnny Blaze, which... Fun fact, this book does not feature him transforming into Ghost Rider because this is set during Howard Mankey's run, so that means no Johnny Blaze's Ghostwriter, no Zorthos here. So let's mention also, well, you can tell this is sometime during Dan Ketch's time with Ghostwriter because Roxanne Sampson's alive along with Johnny Blaze's 2 kids. Those 2 are presumed deceased. Roxanne is confirmed to be deceased. Yeah, and they fight this twin head guy who's taking on Jimmy 6. I think this is still issue 1. Yeah. Then we have Stacey save a woman or a child, and fights the 2-headed guy, and Dan Ketch, and then eventually we see this other guy talking about the brothers, and then we see the caretaker. Now this is another character which actually popped up in the Ghost Rider live action movie. Yes, the caretaker. The caretaker is another character from that run, and he, of course, was a recurring character starting issue 28 of the book, and he was recurring from that point forward until, like, the book till basically Howard Mankey left the book. He came back a couple times during volume 6 of the book, and then came back for this book, and that was it. Yeah. It's quite interesting the fact they featured the caretaker in here, because then we have Blackout here. Yes, Blackout, one of Dan Ketch's few villains. You have him, you have Death Watch, which is basically one of the recurring villains here. There's a few of them per se. So deal with the Penance Stare, taking on the. Now here's something. Yes, Ghost Rider taking on the KKK. I'm like, beat up those racist dirtbags. Yeah, because KKK are notorious for being racist. I heard an alleged rumor that the current leader of the somewhat defunct KKK is a black guy. I'm like, really? Why the heck would it up? Like, this is something strange because the KKK are notorious racists or people who are black. And that's what I've heard lately. That's what the KKK is run by, a black guy. Which makes no freaking sense at all. And the organization has been somewhat defunct since, like, what, the 80s, per se? Yeah, and of course we have Dan Ketch running into the caretaker. And then we see the Scarecrow. Ebenezer. This actually is another guy who popped up during Dan Ketch's run. You could definitely say, oh, this is something that, well, how should I put this? This is definitely something that is associated with Dan Ketch. Now, this version of the character was started as an Iron Man villain who popped up in other people's books. This is Ebenezer Langton. Now, he would appear in the Ghost Rider book, the Volume 3, a few times. First appeared in issue 37, then appeared in 38, then 60, 65. So basically, he's fought the Giant Ketch Ghost Rider a handful of times, but he is a recurring bad guy for him, which God praise him for that. And prior to appearing in that issue 7, he last appeared back in Avengers Spotlight number 6, which was a Acts of Vengeance tie-in. Yeah, the thing with him is he doesn't appear very much at all. And it is shocking that Howard Mankey managed to feature in this book because my guess is Howard Mankey must love writing him, but he probably couldn't allow him to appear that very much at all, so have appearances be sporadic. So then Black comes in, of course, Stacy tries to shoot him. Then of course, Ghost Rider shows up. It's like, right now, please run. Yep, because Dan Ketch has got to think for his childhood friend, and then we see the Quentin Carnival, which is something Johnny Blaze worked for in the 90s. Now you might be curious though, does the Quentin Carnival pop up in the most recent run for the series? I'll find out. Now the Quentin Carnival is something associated with Johnny Blaze since like the beginning, and Like, it did technically show up recently in the Ghost Rider / Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance Alpha one shot. Yep. In a flashback. But if it's not this book, because it's taking place in the past, you could kind of say maybe that the... Let's see, was this book here? Nope. This book. So I think it could have been Ghost Rider 80 was the... Well, you could say... Not 80. Was 78? You could say it's probably the Blaze book. Yeah, so they've not been regularly featured since like 95. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Johnny meets up with his family, his wife and children. Like I mentioned, the kids are presumed to be deceased, but there's no confirmation about that. No, not really. Now, this is something in particular I do not understand. Why the heck they have a good idea to kill off Johnny Blaze's kids. This makes no freaking sense to me at all. To say that they're no longer alive, it doesn't make any sense at all. Not really. The thing is, it's never confirmed they're deceased. Not really. Their mom is currently gone. Yes. Roxanne is no longer alive, sadly. If you're really curious of when she passed away, she was killed off in issue 50 of Ghost Rider Volume 3. And here they appear here in this mini-series. Yep. And of course deal with Death Watch. And it's just an absolute really fun series. Howard Mankey basically has not lost his touch as it relates to this character. Mm-hmm. And of course they bring up, like, we have Mad Broker. Well, I come across you before. Ah, you mean my brother-in-arms, the Collector, from the Gambit miniseries. Yes, they reference the Gambit miniseries. I'm like, okay, so Howard Mankey is referencing another character, Thaf the Creator, who actually last appeared in Gambit Volume number 12. Mm-hmm. But I think he says he met him in that series, which is interesting. I thought it was really cool that they referenced him. And of course, they also bring up the Morlocks in here. The Morlock Massacre is mentioned. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this miniseries is just a lot of fun. I'm surprised it only lasted 4 issues. I would have thought, though, this book, because it was so good, that this book could have been an ongoing series. Maybe Howard Mankey could fill up like any time missed from his book. But no, it's only 4 issues. But the book was really good. If you're a fan of Dan Ketch, check out this book immediately. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Next up we have is Blade, Blood, and Chaos. Excuse me. Now, I've heard 2 different sources of exactly what's collecting this book. According to the way it's published here, it collects Blade, Sins the Father, Blade Volume 2, which is 3 issues, the half issue, and also Blade Volume 3, which is 6 issues, which is an ongoing series. The book itself, who are your raters? Mark Andreyko, Don McGregor, and Brett Sears, who also has the artwork too, with Brian Hagan and Andy Smith. The front cover is Brett Sears, Bart Sears, Ray Kershing, and Mike Athen. The back cover is Brad Sears and Ray Kershing. First up is Sins the Father. Yep, that's the first thing published in here. Yeah, it's interesting they published this book. This book came out roughly in 1998. Mostly put, it's... How should I put this? It's Blade versus a bunch of... basically take on a vampire gang. Mostly put, you can say this book is sort of like... referencing the upcoming... at the time, upcoming movie Blade the movie. For some reason, this book, Blade does not... Here's the thing. On the cover of the very issue, you see Blade wearing a shirt. And having the trench coat and the stakes. Well, the outfit's partially true. For some reason, so Blade does have the coat, he does have the stakes, the pants, but no shirt. You can think of this as no shirt era for this book and the Blade ongoing. Mostly put for this book is Blade wearing shade, taking on a group of vampires. Which is perfectly fine. Most of he's asked it with this woman's father, and Blade eliminates him, and of course, then it's revealed that that she planned to take on her father all along and take over business, basically, and she gets killed off at the end of the miniseries. It's really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I love this little tagline at the end of the book. Look, here's Blade with here's the thing. No coat, just his pants and boots. Yeah, because we gotta show off, we gotta get fan service team over here, gotta show off Blade's abs. So, and it says, for the final between Blade and Deacon Frost, check out the new line to his motion picture Blade, starring Wesley Sandorov in theaters now. So, could this book be a prelude to Blade movie? It's never really confirmed at all. If it is, there's a book called Night Stalking, yes, but for some reason this is basically just okay. So the book is a prequel to Blade. Okay, interesting. So yeah, it is a prequel to the Blade movie. So that could explain why I was a little confused with it. So yeah, it's a prequel to Blade, the live action movie, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't really say in the book it is, just that Blade's like that. And then we're on to the Blade ongoing series that came just not long after this. Published under the Strange Tales imprint. Yes. Which, this book sadly only lasts 3 issues. And the book also has, as a supporting character, Michael Morbius. Yep, Morbius appears in the book, and the book ends with a cliffhanger with Blade attacking Morbius, and the book ends on a cliffhanger right there. I have heard the reason why the book ended was because the book didn't sell very well. Yeah, that was the reason I heard. I'm not really sure exactly why. It's just that it did. I thought it was kind of weird. And then we had the next published book, which is the 1/2 issue. Wismag is written and drawn by Brett Sears. This book is basically a standalone book that's basically... It's another universe Blade. Affected with worms. And then, of course, we lead into this Blade book. Which is really, really weird, this book. Yeah, how weird is it? Blade wearing the silver suit and working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. While uncovering a group known as Silver Eye, which is an organization that works with S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, and it only exists in this one book. It never returned after this book wrapped up. Yeah, it got pretty much eliminated by issue 5, and then basically issue 6 was the last issue of the book. Deals the guy a Harif, and that's it. Yeah. It's not a terror book per se, but it's kind of weird and fight this giant blob creature for a few issues. And also, Blade no wearing a shirt halfway with the book. Yeah, very weird set of issues per se, but not terrible. Now, the person who wrote the book is Brett Sears. Yes, he wrote the book with Andy Smith in the artwork. Don McGregor did what I consider to be the second volume for the series. This book came out roughly from 1999 to 2000, roughly from October 1999 to roughly March of 2000. And you're thinking, okay, so what was the next book that came after this one? Well, there was the Night Stalker book. I will cover that one eventually, yes. But the very next book that came right afterwards was what I consider to be Blade Volume 4. The Max book. I'll be discussing in the future, don't worry about that. I'll be discussing that soon. Yeah. It may be on the Max imprint, but it's one of those rare occasions where the book is actually set in the 616 universe. But not being the next Blade book we'll discuss, per se. No. Next will be, obviously, Blade Volume 1. Otherwise, it was Blade the Vampire Hunter. I'll be discussing that, plus theater books for that one. And there will be some books published afterwards. Now, with Blade Volume 4, I will be discussing with that one a few one-off appearances he made between the end of Blade Volume 1 and Volume 2. And basically, like Marvel Team Up, Gambit, I'll be discussing those two books. Obviously. Yeah, basically discussing one-off issues with the Blade Volume 3 when I get to it. But not right now. But this book, I did enjoy Blade Volume 2. I thought that was really good. It's just surprising the book was really short. Yeah. Oh, after Volume 1 wrapped up, he did appear in Marvel Shadows and Light number 1. Which I reviewed already, so I'm not worried about that one. So, basically, it'll be Marvel Team number 7 and Gambit number 4. Marvel Team number 7 came out between Blade Volume 1 and Blade Volume 2. The Gambit issue came between Volume 2 and, well, Volume 3, which is basically here. So, basically, when I get to Volume 6, there's not much review afterwards. Basically, just the fourth volume for Tomb of Dracula, which I believe this was the last known volume published Tomb of Dracula. Yes, it was. It was the last known volume. So I'll be reviewing that, and then eventually I'll do Blade Volume, 6. I will be discussing all some more comic issues, and eventually I'll get to Captain Britain number 13, eventually. And there'll be other books in particular. Yep. I'm going to give this book roughly 9 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that's it particular view. Excuse me. Next up, I have one more comic corner, and then I'll move on to case close. Okay, next view. Bye.